profound, most excellent, is seldom to be heard in myriad of aeons. Now we have received the sutra expounding the excellent teaching. May we understand the first principle taught by Tathagata. The great vehicle, the supreme vehicle, is beyond the reach of our comprehension. But anyone who sees or hears the sutra shall come nearer to enlightenment. The expounder is the Buddha in his eternity. The expounded is the Buddha in his truth. And the letters that compose the sutra are all in all the Buddha in his manifestation. All the excellent merits incalculable are concentrated in his wonderful sutra. By this, it saves all beings, employing all mysteries and wonders. All beings, wise or unwise, shall expel their sin, acquire their good. All beings, believing or even slandering the teaching, shall attain their Buddhahood through this sutra. This sutra is most wonderful, most excellent, taught by Buddha of the past, present, and future. May we meet and receive this sutra both birth after birth, world after world. The Buddhas have appeared in this world to purify all being by having them open the treasury of the Buddha wisdom, which they are unaware of possessing within themselves. The Buddha have appeared in this world to show the Buddha wisdom to them. The Buddha have appeared in this world to have them understand what the Buddha wisdom is. The Buddhas have appeared in this world to lead them into the path of the Buddha wisdom. The triple world is unsafe, like a burning house. It is full of sufferings, of dreadful sufferings indeed. There are four major sufferings: birth, old age, disease, and death. The fire of these sufferings is incessantly burning. The Tathagata has already retired from the burning house, this world, and is living tranquilly in the peaceful field of enlightenment. The whole of the triple world is my domains all. All beings living therein are my own There is none but I who can save all beings. Sentient beings are innumerable. I vow to save them all. Our evil desires are inexhaustible. Exhaustible. I vow to quench them all. The Buddha's teachings are innumerable. I vow to study them all. The way of the Buddha is unexcelled. I vow to attain the path sublime. O Buddha Shakyamuni, the supremely awakened one, the most honored one, and the self-enlightened one. We are here, we are gathered in thy presence with the deepest reverence and adoration in our hearts. We put all our trust in thee, in thy universal wisdom and in thy everlasting compassions. And we do honestly resolved to be good Buddhists and follow the holy path you have shown us, so that we may, like thyself, attain the supreme, equal, perfect enlightenment, Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Will you offer the incense to the Buddha, please? Okay, please. Come, one of you, please. You know, put this one on this fire. Yes, put this one, this one. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, thanks. Thank you. Yes, please. Nam myoho renge kyo, nam myoho もに仏道上善こと。南無妙法蓮華経。Thank you very much. You offered the incense to all the Buddha in the whole universe, in the past, present, and future world. When you put the little rock to the pond, that wave, become larger and larger. That, endlessly larger, become larger and larger. Just like that. Your very tiny good conduct, influencing the everything and everybody in the world. World, it must be one. That is your world. Each one has their own world. When your mind is pure, world become pure. When your mind is defiled, world become defiled. Just like that. Mind and world are same thing, one thing. No difference at all. Thank you very much. I'd like to explain tonight little more. Okay, will you hear me? Okay, I have some. Thank you. Too long. Yeah. I think, can you see that? Can you see it? Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's better. Okay. I copied the sutra from Complete Enlightenment Sutra. This is a very good sutra. Buddha explained what the enlightenment is. I told you many times before, the enlightenment is universal nature. The nature of the universe. We cannot get out from the universal nature. Therefore, we cannot get into the enlightenment. We are enlightened. We are enlightened. You are enlightened already. Number one, what is ignorance? Ignorance is a big illusion. Okay? The virtuous man since the time without beginning, all living beings holding inverted views are like wanderers who lose their way. They mistake the union of the four elements. Four elements is the earth, water, fire, and air. Ancient people, that they thought five fundamental elements in the world, like earth, fire, and water, and air, and sometimes space. Those five are, elements of the universe. But we have today many, that another kind of element. Scientists have, some theory, 130 something, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, so on, We have many matters or particles. But it is the same idea. For instance, hydrogen is, that is only temporary name. It is only atoms. That is only energy. So temporarily we call it hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, or carbon, so on. But it is the same thing. There is no such a thing. Okay, it is human concept, okay? They mistake the union of the four elements for their body and shadows of the six conditioned sense data. For instance, we have body and mind. When we analyze more smaller part, and it becomes what is that? Shiki is matter, Ju is stimulation, and So is perception, and Yo is volition or consciousness. And also that is Dharma, that is existence. Excuse me. That is consciousness. That's altogether is this. The rupa, that is matter and form, rupa. And vidana, that is stimulation. We have a stimulation, eye stimulation, ear stimulation is a cause of sound, eye stimulation is a cause of color or light, and also, smell. Smell, that is nose stimulation, and tongue stimulation, and also body stimulation. That is, the hotness, warmness, or some pressure. We can feel it with our body. And one more thing, we have a mind. can perceive, we can conceive, we can understand. Then we have one body and the five other mental senses. That is, here. Conditioned sense of data, that is a six. Conditioned sense data for their mind. It is empty, of course. There is no body. You have no body. You have no mind. Why? Because that is only your concept. You see, you understand. Most of people understand. I have a body. That is mental, concept, image. You don't know what the body is. I think some of you think, you have a mind, but you don't know where mind is. Mind is nowhere. Whole body may be, mind. In your little finger, you have a mind. So PJ, you have, some feeling. This feeling is, some kind of mental activities. So your mind is everywhere in your mind. Not only in your body. When you are somebody crying, you feel something. So that is, your mind is everywhere. So not only in your mind. So that your mind is universal. Body is also universal. Some, in the Western world, philosophically, that Aristotle started to think, what is the thing? What is the real existence? That is individuality. What is individuality? That which cannot be, analyzed anymore, separate anymore. For instance, I myself, this body and mind, that is the smallest unit of the universe. That is, that Aristotle, started to think. I think another, philosophers, they had the same idea, but the first, the theorized this truth, that was Aristotle. I think you know that. So this very, very, false point of understanding became the most common sense of the Western philosophy. So, for instance, this flower is the smallest unit. I'm sorry to bother you. This, but this is this flower is very, very generous. So he it is helping me. The people think this is the smallest unit. If we break it down, there is no more flower. So this is the smallest unit. So this is the real existence. Okay? Do you think so? But you can, put all petals out of this flower. There is no, that's the smallest unit anywhere. There is no largest unit anywhere. Therefore, there is no middle, no, unit anywhere. Everything is as it is. Anyway, okay, when you have some question, will you, give me, ask me please. So can you understand this one meaning? Mind and matter is a conditional, temporary, reality. We say reality, but it is not real reality, true reality, because it has no self-existence or self-nature. You know the flower has no self-nature. Flower has no its color, own color. If you understand, okay, flower has a color. That is big false view. Okay? Color is your sensation, your feeling. So if this has color, flower has a color, when we bring it to the dark place, you must see it. But when light does not reflect on it, and that light ray does not reach to your eye sense, I know, you cannot feel any color. Color is a human sensation. It doesn't belong to the flower itself. This is very obvious, real truth. But most of people do not understand that. Mind and body does not belong to you. Okay? You cannot possess your mind. Mind does not obey you. Body doesn't obey you. But still you are, this is my body. I possess it, but it is impossible. Even you cannot, how say, maintain your mind, or you cannot order, something. You cannot order your mind, okay? But mind never, obey you. Mind is so wild. Okay, we go a little more. Virtuous men, actually, there is no flower in the sky. There is no flower in the sky. There is no second moon in the sky. Okay? But the man suffering from optical illusion wrongly cling to it. But some people always see the many flowers in the sky. Maybe these people have something wrong in their, the eye organs, or some other places. That because of his wrong clinging, he deceives himself, not only as to the nature of the void, but also as to where the flower really comes from. This false clinging is the cause of the transmigration of the births and the deaths, hence ignorance. stupidity or misunderstanding of the human beings is attachment. This is very usual or common nature of the human being. Attachment. I think most of us have a very strong attachment to anything. For myself, I. There is no I anywhere in my body, but I have an illusion of I. I is the most important thing in the whole universe. But that is, no one knows what I is. That is a big illusion of our everybody's. But this is, attachment. Ignorance, of course. Ignorance produces a desire. Desire produces attachment. Attachment produces illusions. So suffering is a big illusion. And greed is, that is covetousness. A kind of illusion, of course. And suspicion is very typical illusion of the mankind. And conceit in another big illusion. All, that's loving self. So they attach, the self. Self is only concept. That concept is elusive, delusive concept, not a real thing anywhere. Okay, when you have, yes, ma'am.
I don't understand what you mean by some people see a flower in the sky.
Flower what?
A flower in the sky? You said?
Oh, flower is some, people have something, that long in their eye organs. For instance, cataract. Some spot in their eyes. So they see something, that in the sky. But there is, that ordinary people cannot see the flower in the sky.
So that's symbolic of illusion.
Yeah, that is a big illusion. Some people who have some, spot in their eyes see something, sometimes a flower, sometimes, second moon in the sky. But both are, that illusion. Human, the thinking, all of them are illusion. Why? Because it is a concept of thing. You know the concept of chair, but you don't know what the chair is. You know the flower, but that knowing is the mental image which you have. That mental image is not a real flower. You don't know this flower, but everybody take a look at and produce the picture of a flower in your mind and think this is a real flower. But your knowledge of flower is not a flower. But most of people always mix up this point. People do not know anything at all. they know many things. Something wrong? Patricia is okay? It's a very difficult at this point.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, for the beginner, it's very difficult because most of people have a very, strong karmic, nature, karma, past, habitual, tendency. So, the most of people thought yesterday there was a flower. And last year, they thought there were the flowers. That became the habitual. And now, when you see this flower, and you think, I know the flower. Flower exists by itself. No. This is a human illusion. Most of people have the same, illusion. So, when you hear the Buddhism, you must switch this kind of idea. Yes, sir.
You've said several times that these concepts are not reality.
Yes.
Can you talk about the reality of the flower?
Reality of flower is unknowable. I think, this is the real flower. That reality and the concept of reality, that is not, the real reality. It is only concept. Therefore, the human mind is very superficial and very shallow and very less power. We cannot, understand, everything, exactly, the true nature of itself. When you see something, and you have had many experiences in the past life, and you have many, identical memories about this flower. And most of memories, in your memories, you thought flower was the independent existence, real existence. You thought so in the past, life. So that tendency, that habitual, nature, still you are having, possessing. That is karma, we call. But flower is flower. Okay? But what is flower? Flower is plant? Of course not. Flower is name of a group of the flower. So this is not only the flower. We have thousands and millions of flowers in the world. All are flowers. Someone is a big flower, small flower, red flower, yellow flower, all are flowers. No? Flower is not the name of the individuality. It is a group name. So, but most of people understand, this is the flower. This is the flower. No. Flower is, an image. Image of the group of the, part of plant. flower. This is leaves, we say. This is stem. This is the root. So flower is the group. You don't know human beings. Human being is the name of the group. Humanity. I am not humanity. You are not humanity because you are not a group. I am not a group. I am an individual. Therefore, I am not humanity. But most of people misunderstand it. We must know that everything is a human concept. We know only own concept, that's all. You don't know my feeling. You don't know my understanding. You know only your, the knowing or perception or conception, which is yours, not others. So, yes, ma'am.
What I don't understand is why the illusions that people have would all be the same if we are all individuals. Why are the illusions different for different individuals?
Yeah, your illusion is yours. My illusion is mine. Belongs to individual. I produce my illusion. You produce your illusion. Your illusion is not my illusion. My illusion is not yours. When you know something, that is illusion. Yes, yes.
So you're saying because of our illusion, it is impossible to know, to understand,
By others.
to experience a flower, that reality of a flower. It's not possible to understand a flower.
You mean you can experience flower?
No, I'm saying,
Yeah,
is that what you said? You said we cannot know a flower.
yeah,
That's right. We cannot
yeah,
understand a flower
yeah,
or anything that we have a concept of.
yeah. Is it okay?
Sure.
That is, human understanding is conceptualization.
There's no way
Making,
to break the conceptualization.
when we have no concept, we know nothing. When when I have no concept in my mind must be a void, empty. So I have no knowledge, I don't know my name, or I don't know what I am, who I am, I don't know anything. All my concept. Concept is, memory. In other words, okay, please ask me anything. Okay, this is very, very important. Number two, virtuous man, when illusion are known as an illusion, okay, one will keep from them without using any expedient. Okay? little confusing. When one keeps from illusions, one is enlightened. Without passing through any gradual stages. We don't need any gradual approaching. Now is eternal. There is no tomorrow. There is no future. There is no past. Past and the future is a part of present. But there is no present or presence. There is no right now. Time is a big illusion. Time itself is a big illusion. There is no time anywhere. Any opposition? Yes.
It's
time of what?
It's time tied to memory. Time and memory, do they go together?
Just a minute. Time.
It's time, or it's memory tied to time, or
Yeah.
to the same thing.
Memory is a concept of time. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's together.
Yeah, okay. And the time of, concept of time is not a time. Okay? Concept of time, I know the concept, the time. That is my concept, not the time. I know this chair, but that is not this chair. I can bring my chair anywhere. Here, see? That's my picture, mental picture. Yes, sir.
It seems to be saying that the experience, or not the experience, but where all of these things are real is where they're no longer experienced, so consequently they have no existence.
Experience and the reality, that the relation between those things, reality and experience. All experience is not real.
So this quality of realness, it seems to be from what you're saying, there is nobody there to experience this realness. So, again, what is this realness that you're talking about?
Room you are using?
I'm finding it's difficult to talk about.
I'm sorry.
No, it's hard to find a way to talk about. You seem to be implying that there is something that is real, that is not experienced. So therefore, there's nobody to experience it. So
Yeah.
therefore, it doesn't exist.
Okay, but give me some example. Is there any real things? Show me something which is real.
I know what you're saying.
Huh?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. But why do you imply that there's something that's real?
I
What?
don't think he does. I don't think he's saying there's anything real. He thinks you're saying that there's something that's real. That there's really something.
The reverse of something that is not real.
Yeah, everything is not real.
You're using a negative. And the negative
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that negative, when we negate something, we must have a concrete standpoint. Otherwise, we cannot negate anything. Negation and affirmation are same standpoint.
Right, that's helpful.
Yeah. So there is no reality anywhere. That is, the very strong, concrete assertion. Both are illusion.
I'll follow that.
That when we have something, that's sickness in our body, and we take some medicine. Medicine is a big poison, very strong poison. Poison heal the poison. At that time we call medicine. Medicine and poison are same thing. Yeah. But temporarily we call it medicine. In the other, the condition, we call it medicine. Therefore, medicine and poison are same thing. Just like enlightenment and illusion. If you like enlightenment and hate illusion, that enlightenment you think is big illusion. When you are enlightened, you are in the enlightenment. You have no attachment anymore. You can see enlightenment and illusion, both are equal. perfectly equal. At that time, you know you are in enlightenment. Yes, sir.
So, attachment, from what I understand from my own experience,
Yes.
disattachment, because I've had a lot of experiences lately where I have to look at attachments and then maybe let go of them. And what I've seen in my own experience, to let go of attachment is not to say, no, I don't want it, or not to say, yes, I want it. It's like somewhere in the middle where you don't really care
Yeah.
that whether you have it or don't have it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm feeling out to be disattachment.
Yeah. That is attachment.
Like another person. So if you were kind of with another person in a relationship and then they go away,
Yeah.
the disattachment is kind of like not wanting them back or not wanting them to be away, but just kind of being okay
Yeah.
either way
Yeah.
that it goes.
Yeah. Attachment is quite different by each individual. Your attachment and my attachment are quite different.
Well, it's all in the mind.
Yeah, because that is kind of a judgment. You know? I attach to this because I like it. If I don't like it, I do not attach. So when I attach, why? It is good, it is right, it is beautiful. You know? So I attach. But this judgment is quite different by the individuals. That's why attachment is not, same. There is no same thing in the whole universe. There is no same horse in the two same horses in the universe. There is no same flower in the whole universe. And not only that, flower is always changing. Each flower, okay? I follow you. This flower is not a flower anymore because it is changing always so rapidly. Flower, next moment is another flower, next moment must be another flower. So it is changing all the time. What is a flower? Is it something there? No, matter, no color, and no smell, no form, nothing there, because it's changing so, rapidly. You cannot grasp it. When you see it, and you produce, your concept of this flower, next moment is not the same flower. How do you catch this flower? Impossible. This, flower never come back to the same flower again. No? Each moment, each seconds, very, very short moment, it changing so rapidly. From here, all different flowers. Okay? Yeah.
If the flower has no characteristics,
No,
then there's nothing to change.
no,
So
nothing
there's
change, yeah.
There's no changing either.
no change. What is changing?
My mind.
Yeah, that is better. That is better. This is your mind. Okay, next problem. Okay, let's read number 3. Number 3, virtuous man, all things are in the absolute state of reality. Do you know what the absolute state? Everything changing state. Changing is one aspect. Absolute is another aspect. You know? Everything is changing so rapidly, so quickly, but still it is permanent. Now is never moves. Now is always now. Now. Eternally, it's staying now. Now is always staying here. Now doesn't move. That is absolute state. Another, that conditional state is, that the condition is different. Each moment. This moment is not that moment. So always time is evolving, running, fleeting. That is one aspect of the time, Also, there is another aspect of time. That is real, absolute state of reality. Nothing changes. Because everything is now. It doesn't change. When you take a picture, like a video, okay, everything is still in that picture. When we move many, frames of picture so rapidly, so the things in the picture, moves. But each frame is still picture. That is absolute state. So nothing changes. Changing is a very stupid idea. There is no changing in the whole universe. Really. Flower is always flower. Okay? But human memory, is very complete. Everything is changing, but the human memory does not change. So we feel, this flower changing. It is transient. But that is a mistaken idea, false view. What is changing? My memory, is changing. Flower does not change. Always it is it. It decays, is decay. At that moment is as it is. It has no change. So, I have a many memories in my mind about this flower. Flower 1 hour ago, flower 2 days ago, flower 1 week ago, all memories, in my mind, and compare those my memories, in my, memory. Oh, this is quite different, changing. Changing is a trick of memory. Thing does not change. Do you understand that?
I understand except when I look in the mirror.
Yes, if you understand this, you are quite, enlightened person. Yeah. Enlightened. You understand what enlightenment is. You can see the real state, and the supreme state, and absolute state. What is the absolute state of the things? That is unchanging thing. And no one, to be born. No one to die. Each moment is, everything is as it is. As that is. So, no change. Yes, sir.
Well, if there is no time scale to go by, if we said there's timelessness, then how can anything change? Because you have nothing to look back on and nothing to go forward to. So you couldn't ever tell if anything changed. Is that right?
Yeah. Do you think that time is changing by itself?
But we're saying that time isn't.
Time doesn't change. Okay, what is changing?
I'm saying, how can we say that anything changed if we don't have anything to look back on to see what was then? If we say that everything is in the present,
Yeah.
then everything is just as it is now. It's not as it was or anything, because time is one.
Yeah, there is no things which was, which were,
Right.
which were, everything is right now. Right now. Everything is. In that sense, that nothing changes. So, that people always, they're looking once, the one side of conditional state. So, that understand everything, everybody understand, that everything is changing. Because, that time, is change, which is changing with all existence in time. Just like we put, this is time. We put everything, that existence in this time, and, bring to move. So everything is, fleeting, changing with time. That is very stupid idea. Time does not have this kind of, this power, this so strong power. Time is big illusion. There is no time anywhere. Only delusive idea of the human mind. People cannot grasp it. Okay, any question? Yes, very, very good. Okay. That is, that's, how to say, the absolute state of reality. That is called Tathagata or Tathata. Tathata, suchness. Everything in existence in this world has the three kind of nature. One is the, how to say, conditional nature, or we call temporary nature, or how to say, provisional nature. That is always changing. There is, we have another name as a deceptive nature, because this nature human mind. Ignorant people always deceived by the, deceptive nature of the beings. This flower, again, no? This nature is very deceptive because deceive the ignorant people. Ignorant people, see it, attached to it, and deceive. Oh, this is wonderful, pretty. I like it. When they, attach to this flower, they must have a suffering. Okay? Because this doesn't stay. So when it decays, people feel sad, suffering, anxiety. That's why this is very deceptive form. This is one nature of the beings, not only flower. Human beings are also. I have also three kinds of nature. One is deceptive nature. I can deceive you. And the next nature, that is empty nature. I have no nature. Because I have no name, I have no body, I have no mind, I have no vices, no virtue, no knowledge, no wisdom, no fame, no characteristics, nothing. All are your, judgment. Or you are all, your, how to say, illusions, suppositions. That's why I am empty. That empty nature is the one typical nature of the all beings. And number three, everything has the, absolute state of reality. That is suchness nature. Everything is such. No changing. Nothing but everything. Everything but nothing. No one can understand it. It is beyond human understanding. It is beyond human explanation. This nature is so wonderful. People do not understand what does it mean, wonderful. But wonderful, why it is wonderful? Because inexplicable, unconceivable, ungraspable. That's why everything is so, unusual. Yes, sir.
Is it existent?
Beyond the existence. Beyond. Yeah. If it is existence, we call Dharma. Dharma, which that which has its own nature, is called, Dharma, or existences, or reality. We call it, that supreme or absolute state of reality, but this reality is a human world. People think it is a real, thing, real existence, but that is a human concept. Human concept of reality is not a reality. Yes, sir.
Can that thing that's within us that is beyond human nature
Yeah.
become suchness?
Yes, sir.
And in that place of suchness, is there no
Oh, no.
Many such.
No, that is, yeah, it is, suchness is a temporary name. Yeah, it's people, need some, calling name, some name. Otherwise, they cannot conceive their concept. But when we call it suchness, that is not suchness anymore. They're very funny. That everything has no name, fundamentally. This state has no name. People put a name, for their, sake, human sake. Human need a, name. But everything has no name. So suchness is a kind of name. People, if there is no name, people, they cannot, understand it. Now, if people cannot, have understanding, they cannot, the advance their, standpoint. That's why we make steps from the beginning. Put a name and put the explanation, and we set many different steps. People need it, but very intuitive person do not need any steps. I think something here. There is no steps anymore. Everybody knows it, from the beginning. Because you are such. You are enlightenment. You are not outsider of the enlightenment. Okay, then continues, that because our body is pure and clean, so all bodies are clean and clear. All living beings in the 10 direction of space. 10 direction is east, west, south, south, north, and between 8 complex, directions, and up and down, including 10 directions, all spaces. In the purity and the cleanness of the complete enlightenment. Yeah. No illusion anywhere. Therefore, no enlightenment anywhere. When we have no illusion, there is no enlightenment. When there is no ignorant people, there is no Buddha anywhere. Number 4, I need a little upper. Oh, thank you. Number 4. I think 4. Yeah. Little upper. Okay, this. No, not this way. Yeah, this is not a stick. I think so. I think so. Okay. samsara is a transmigration world. This conditional world, fleeting world. That's the samsara. And nirvana is a super, state, tathata state. Nirvana are like yesterday's dream. Both are dream. Not one is a dream. Both are dream. When we discriminate one thing into two, at that time both of the concepts are illusion, like a dream. So enlightenment is a big dream. Illusion is another dream. Number 5, virtuous men, as they are like yesterday's dream, you should know that samsara and nirvana, that this is human, that the world, changing world, and nirvana is a permanent world state, permanent world, and the tranquil world is called nirvana. Neither rise nor fall, and neither come nor gone, or go. The realization can be neither gained nor lost, and neither grasped nor rejected. Is okay? It is. The subjective, that subject, realizer neither makes nor unmakes it, and neither bears, nor drops it. And the subject and object do not exist in this realization, wherein ultimately nothing is realized, and wherein there is no even a realizer, for all things are only nature, dharmata, only nature, which is universal and indestructible. Everything is just permanent state, constant state. Any question? No question, of course. Because it is it. You don't need to understand it. You can't.
Something I wanted to ask, I feel it to be relevant, but I'm not sure it is. I saw a program on television before I came here of a man who had an illness which damaged some of his brain, and he could not remember anything that had happened to him just before. So he was always as if he was just woken up. Every moment was as if he had just woken up. I think the longest he could remember was about 5 minutes perhaps, and then he could get everything and start again. Watching that, I expected him to be happy, enlightened in some way, because he had no memories to cling to. But he visibly suffered all the time. His family suffered, he suffered. He was in great anguish, great distress through all this time, and there was no way that he could get better. And I wondered, if he always lived in the present, then why would he be unhappy?
Oh, the happiness is individual, Your happiness cannot be others' happiness.
Yeah.
So when you see the sick man, you think, you suppose, oh, that man is sick, so he must be or she must think so. That is, you are saying understanding is not real. That is illusion, delusion. So we don't care. Illusion does not disturb anybody. So, sick person is not always suffering. But, healthy people, that hate own sickness. So, they always, hate sickness. But the suffering, sick man, sometimes, hate sickness. But not always. You know, sickness, that is a very, how to say, helpful. Yeah. If man has no sickness, they must die sooner, soon. Very, when we keep up our health, we need sickness. Only stupid guy hate sickness. Just like this, some, someone bought an alarm watch, alarm clock. It, rings loudly. He hated it. I don't like it. So throw it away. But this person is not so wise. Sickness is alarm clock are the same thing. We shouldn't hate anything. Everything is useful. Don't you think so? Ignorance is very good. Stupidity is very good. I like a stupid man. I don't like so smart one. So, that sickness is also, sometimes, that some doctor, for instance, are trying to cure the sickness. So, sometimes okay, but sometimes the doctor should explain necessity of sickness for the patient. It is not like business only. People need sickness. Doctors advice. Some doctor hate sickness, but that is, very good for the doctor. If there is no sick man, doctor cannot live. Anyway, everything is such. Sickness, death is the same thing. People hate death. That is, this person must be stupid. Life and death are one thing. It is helping each other. When there is no life, there is no death, of course. When there is no death, there is no life too. Life does not exist before the death, no. After the death, no. At the same time, no. Death is wonderful. When that time, life is wonderful. When death, we think death is, useless. At that time, life is useless too. That is your mental state. Okay. Do not attach to anything. Life and death is just front and back. It does not exist at one time, at the same time. When you see back of my hand, you cannot see the front of my hand. When you see this one, this side, you cannot see this side. Because it is opposite. Just like east and west. There is no east exists. No, exists before the west exists. No after, no before, no at the same time. We must be wise, more, more, how to say, reasonable mind. We must have a reasonable mind. So people, discriminate, one thing into two, and hate one, like the other. That is human stupidity. Ignorant man, always, that's fraud in the transmigration. That's the sea of the transmigration and burning the house. There is no time to get out from the realm of sufferings. Okay, last one. No more last. Okay, please. Conclusive question, please. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to comment on what she said there, that it made me think about my cat. Because my cat doesn't remember too much from one time to the other. But I don't lay any conditions on my cat, so I can pet my cat, and it appears to me as being happy, and it purrs. But I think the poor man who forgets, he has people there who don't want to treat him like a cat. They want to treat him like he should remember something. And I think that might cause his suffering, or is what we think of suffering.
Oh, don't think like that. Yeah, because when you are satisfactory, okay, all beings in the whole universe must be satisfactory with you. When you are happy, cat, dog, insect, everything must be happy. Must happy. Must be happy. Yeah. So that because cat is your concept. Cat, the concept of cat are part of you. Maybe cat have a concept of master. That is you. So you are the part of the cat. So everything, that, like, embrace one another and each other like this, like that, like this. So a cat is you, no other things. And also you are the cat. I'm sorry to say so, but theoretically it is true.
I like it, okay.
I'm sorry, but if you understand correctly, you may, no lower, no smarter, no, the lesser, no lower. So everything are completely the same, suchness. Buddha nature, or Buddha body, Buddha food. When you are the Buddha, everything, everybody, not only living creature, dead creature, not living creature, all beings must be same to you, Buddha nature or Buddha food.